In our news bulletin for this evening, Land Surveying Division start monitoring survey to mark out land benchmarks as part of the Pacific Sea Level Monitoring Project. A new committee is elected to pave the way forward for the private sector on the island. La Kepa Maliloa put on a spectacle last Saturday for their village show day. Niue is the latest island to benefit from the Pacific Sea Level Monitoring Project that looks at generating accurate records of variance in long-term sea level for the Pacific region. The project operates under the Climate Ocean Support Program that is funded by Australia, working through the Secretariat of the Pacific Community, and is also supported by Geoscience Australia. Each of the participating countries hold a permanent gauge facility that provides information on sea levels and tides, and Niue's is located at the wharf. The land surveying team from the Justice Department have been busy for the past week working on a monitoring survey to establish survey benchmarks that will measure the heights from the tide gauge at the wharf all the way to the GPS system at the Niue Met station. We caught up with them as they were working today with experts from SPC and Geoscience Australia.
This is the start to actually establish the heights on the survey benchmarks from the tide gauge, which is the wharf. We've got a project plaque all the way along the main road, all the way to the Met Office compound. So that's what we are here for. Once the survey is completed, we are able to establish the horizontal and vertical positions on these benchmarks, which are in relation to real-time coordinates, so which is in international reference system in horizontally and vertically, and in relation to mean sea level datum as well. So we are able to see that how much the land has moved in future and how much is the atoll of Niue is moving as well. So from this data, it is very important that these benchmarks has to be in place, and they are there for long term. That's what we have accounted for, that there's already existing benchmarks which has been actually looked after by the survey office. We are also reoccupying them to establish the heights and the position as well, and that will come up for every 18 months. We will be coming here to Niue to carry out this survey, and basically we have two stations now in place, which is the tide gauge station that will record the sea level data, and the GPS station, the global positioning system station, which records the horizontal and vertical positions in near real time. So all these data are available on the website, on the project website, which is called Pacific Sea Level and Monitoring Project, and that data can be also be accessed by the public as well, and it gives all the background information on the project to the public as well.
The benchmarks that have been set up will be there for long term, and information will also be available using online tools. Mr. Lal acknowledged the support from the Justice Land Survey team and management, who have been cooperative and essential in making this a success. In addition to the practical exercises and capacity building, there will be training for staff next week focused on the earth monitoring installations such as the global positioning systems. A new board has been elected to lead developments in the private sector for the next 2 years at the Niue Chamber of Commerce annual general meeting held last Thursday. Financial members of Niue Chamber of Commerce are entitled to vote and be nominated, and after a rather straightforward process, Catherine Etwata Papani was elected the new president with no other nominations, and the vice president is Michael Jackson. In addition, a decision was made to increase the number of committee members to 8, bringing a total of 10 people on the board. The executive committee consists of Richard Tuhipa, Sefeti Fatiaki, James Douglas, Ida Talanghekesi, Rupina Morrissey, Mark Blumsky, and Teresa Scott. As is normal practice, the former president, Avi Rubin, will also work alongside the board for a smooth transition from the previous board and also handover. Mrs. Papani said she looks forward to working with the new executive to continue the work to strengthen Niue's private sector for the benefit of Niue, and also acknowledging the importance of good working relationships with the Niue government. It was La Kepa's time to shine last Saturday as the community banded together to put on their village show day. Visitors and locals alike turned up bright and early to enjoy the activities that ranged from mini golf and petanque, with children taking to the playground and others briskly walking around to see what was on sale from the food stalls. Food was abundant, but what featured dominantly was one of the seasonal delicacies, the kalahimu, or small land crabs. There were also many coconut crab raffles and sweet desserts to choose from. Local produce was also on display, showing a fruitful harvest, and the women delivered some nicely woven craftwork and fabric creations. The formal program had a range of representatives from the village as well as government officials who were invited to join in for the day. Village Member of Assembly Kupa Mangtongia expressed his gratitude to the village for the effort put into the preparations for the show day, and he also reminded people of how the village came about the name, with reference to the rising of the sun. Following the formalities and speeches, it was time for guests to take part in the Sika throwing event to officially open the festivities. A challenge taken up by the pastor of the village, the premier, some of the ministers present, putting their skills to the test. There was also an open competition later on. The entertainment provided by the village children and youth was bright, colourful and interesting, from chicken dances to spear-twirling dances from the Faos Manava Louis boys dancing to Poye, and a range of dances from other groups and individuals to some great island beats. As quick as it had started, the show day was over before 11, and the hope is that next year's event will be even better. That concludes our news bulletin for this evening. Don't forget to tune in to Radio Sunshine for tomorrow for the continuation of the Assembly meeting as they talk about the budget.